Well, hey garden friends, it's Destry. Welcome back to my kitchen today. It is a cold and wintry January day, and so we are doing an inside project today with anticipation of Valentine's coming up around the corner. We are going to be taking some vining and trailing plants, and we're going to be training them around some heart-shaped wire forms and trying to create some Valentine's Day topiaries. All the supplies for this project are going to be linked down below in the description for you, at least all the trellising that I'm using. So I'm using a couple different types here. I have these kind of taller gold trellises that have multiple hearts on them. And then I also have a set of black wrought iron looking trellises that is a set of 6. And they are different sizes, so I'm really excited to try these. And then the other set I have is a little, I would say not as like high of quality maybe, but it's kind of a bigger heart shape like this. So those are the 3 different kinds that I got just on Amazon. And then the plants that I'm using today are actually a couple different types of vining plants. So some, in fact, most of these I've already had, but I did purchase 1 new plant for this project. First set of 2 plants I have are actually called just a wire vine, and these ones have been hanging out in my greenhouse, and you can see they've seen better days. They got a little dry, I think, in the greenhouse, and it's pretty cold in there, so I think bringing them inside for this project is actually going to help them out. But I did water them really well, and I just fertilized them, but you can see they have a lot of different tendrils and arms, and these look really beautiful in like hanging baskets and stuff. But I dug these up out of a planter I had in the summertime, and I brought them in and just potted them up. So these 2 wire vines, here's the other one I'm going to be using for this project today. The other plants I have are just some trailing plants. So this one is a pathos plant, and this one actually needs repotted. But it's got a really long vine here, so I thought I could use this one in this project. And then this one is a Swiss cheese monstera plant. So this one is also a vining plant, but it has those holes in the leaves, therefore it's called the Swiss cheese. And you can see it also has a lot of tendrils like falling down, and it just needs a little grooming too. So I thought this one would be a good candidate for trying to do this trellising today. And then the only other plant that I have here is actually one that I purchased for this project. So this one is a Hoya, and this is from the Proven Winners Leaf Joy collection. And this one is a freckled splash Hoya. And the reason I selected it is it has this really long arm on one side, and you can see it has kind of a smaller one on the other side. Let me flip it around here so you can see the leaves. So it's called freckled, I believe, because it does have some variegation on the leaves. But I thought this really long tendril would work really well for, wrapping around for this project. So I did grab this one from the Home Depot. It was about $10. So what I'm going to do is just go ahead and start. I have this in a green pot, and so I found this cover pot at the Goodwill. So I'm just going to drop this one down into this red pot so it looks a little bit more Valentine's Day. And I think I'm going to start with one of these larger hearts because I have 2 of them and I have 2 of the wire vines. I think I'm going to go ahead and start with these. So I'm just going to find a little place here in the crown of the plant to sort of nestle this, this trellis down in here. Then I'm just going to kind of start, wrapping this around. Now another good plant for this project would be like an ivy plant would be excellent. If you can find one at your garden center, this time of year, that would also be a really good candidate. So like anything that has like these vining kind of tendrils, I think would work really well. So I'm just going to kind of take kind of a handful of these and start to slowly kind of wrap them around. And I don't want to wrap them too tightly because I don't want to damage the plant in any way. But I'm just going to kind of start to train it around the trellis. And then if I feel like I need some of the twist ties, I could go in there and start to use those as well. But I thought this would be a really good way to kind of reuse a couple of these plants that I already have and, you know, kind of reimagine them. This would be really fun to do, just to create kind of a focal point on your dining table or anything like that. And I think it'll be fun to see how these do being trained in a topiary form. So I'm just kind of gathering up, you know, kind of a few branches at a time and then just twisting them around. And so far I haven't needed any of the twist ties. Now some of these little branches are shorter, and if they are shorter, I might end up at the end kind of trimming them off. But we'll see here. I wanna keep as much of the leaf structure as I can so that I get kind of a full look here on the trellis. All right, so I've got the first wire vine all done, and I'm excited to see how this is going to develop, you know, once I get it trained on this trellis. And yeah, it turned out really good. I'm really happy with it. I mean, these wire vines were kind of in kind of medium good shape anyway, and I'm just basically trying to overwinter them, but it might be interesting to have them trained in this way. So there's the first one done. Okay, so this is the second wire vine plant, and I'm just gonna do this one kind of the same way. Now this one is potted a little off center, unfortunately, so I'm gonna be strategic about my placement here. I think I'm gonna try to, got this on my messy mat because some of these leaves are kind of going everywhere, but I think I'm gonna try to kind of split the plant so that I have, you know, some, try not to lose too many leaves, but I want some of these vines to, I'm gonna wrap on this side of the trellis and some on that side of the trellis. So I'm trying to kind of split that, at least kind of have an idea of which direction they're gonna go. And then I'm gonna put my form down here in the base of the plant, and then start on this side to do my wrapping. And I'm kind of weaving, like I took one bit of branches and I'm bringing them this way, and then the other one I kind of went that way. So I'm kind of like trying to kind of weave them back and forth. And so far I haven't used any of the twist ties. I'm just kind of using the branches to sort of weave them into each other and kind of wrap around each other. And that seems to be working pretty good so far. To kind of give it a little bit of a haircut. I did just apply granular fertilizer to this plant. And I watered them really, really well. So that's one tip I have for you. If you're gonna manipulate the plant like this, water it, you know, the day before so that it kind of sucks in some of that moisture and is a little easier to manipulate, especially something like an ivy or this wire vine where, you know, the branches are a little bit more woody. I don't think it's gonna matter as much on my my other two that I'm going to be working with today, but something with these more woody branches, I would say that's probably a good idea. So I think that's looking pretty good. It's a little bit more woolly than the other one just because it had more branches to begin with, but I don't mind it. I think it's looking really good. So here are the two. Now I don't have a cover pot for this one yet, but I'm going to keep my eyes open for something so that they match a little bit. But you can see there's much more growth on this one than this one. So again, kind of up to you. I could have clipped more. In fact, I might just go through and clip a little bit more just to show that form a little bit more. But I also, you know, I like the fact that it's already got kind of a you know, more growth than the other one. So I think they're turning out pretty good. Okay, so now I'm gonna move on. I really wanna work with this new plant that I got, this freckled splash Hoya. So I'm gonna take off the tag and decide what size trellis I'm gonna use, form. I think I'm gonna end up using one of the smaller black kind of wrought iron ones. So I'm gonna look and see which size. Oh, I thought these were all individual. So it looks like they're joined together. Did not realize that. Well, then I'm gonna use maybe this one. Kind of put it, so I'm just putting it kind of in the back of the plant like that. Hey, shoo cats. Then you look, I can wind this long tendril around, and then hopefully this Hoya will just continue to put on leaves, you know, in the different, you know, as I go around here in the form. That's my hope anyway. So there's one of, that's that long tendril. I just put it around that one part. And then this one, I'm gonna thread it around the smaller interior heart, kind of going the other direction. Perfect. Oh my gosh, it's so cute. Love that. I think that looks so great. So hopefully I'll get a few more leaves on this Hoya as it grows and develops, but I really like the way that turned out. Let's go ahead and try this guy. He's kind of wild, and he's got quite a few branches that probably just need trimmed and clipped. So I think I'm gonna go through, kind of look and see the structure, what I've got going on here. There's kind of two main parts of this plant in here. And of course, all the leaves grab onto each other and make it kind of hard. But if I'm doing this trellising, I might want to have, so what I'm trying to do is, like, there's two different kind of root balls in here, or systems. So I'm kind of splitting that so that I can have, again, one side kind of coming up one way and one side going the other way. So for this one, I'm going to go ahead and use, I'm going to use this one, this form. Kind of put it there, and then I'm just going to do that same process. Now this one has a lot more leaves, so I'm going to have to be a little careful as I wind it with not damaging the plant. Off that little piece there. I'm going to work this little branch kind of around here. And again, it's fine if this isn't totally in the shape of a heart. I think that just having the support will really get this plant, you know, growing more vertically. Kind of hard to see, but there's what we've got going. So, you know, the leaves are kind of popping out. So I'm not as worried about it, you know, just being the heart shape, but just kind of threading these leaves around each other. And the plants around each other is giving this plant a whole different look. So I think that's good. So we can, I mean, we can see the leaves now more. It's got that structure in there. And then this pot is pretty small. Probably should have up potted it, but I did take off a little bit of the plant. So now I'm gonna go ahead and grab my granular fertilizer. I'll sprinkle some of that in, and then I'm just gonna soak the plant in the sink and let it really just absorb a lot of water, because I did do quite a bit of manipulation here, but I think it's looking really good. I'm really happy with that one too, it's fun. Okay, and then next up I have this guy who's got this really long arm. And now I haven't used any of these gold ones with the multi-heart, so I think I'm going to use one of these for this one. Again, technically I should repot this little plant, but I'm not going to worry about that today. I'm going to try to get this in here. There we go. And then I am just going to see how we do here. I'm not sure these tendrils are pretty long, and this is only so tall here, so I'm not sure. This plant might not be a good candidate. I'm kind of looking at it going, it might be a little long for this. All right, well, I'm struggling with this one a little bit, and I'll show you why. I've got 3 arms here that are really, really long, and then I've got some pieces here that are shorter. So what I did is I just wrapped the shorter pieces around the gold trellis, and actually I really like the way that that looks, but I don't like these big long pieces coming down. So I think what I'm going to do is actually kind of take this plant apart a little bit and remove some of these long tendrils and just pot those in a different pot. So I'm just going to go ahead and dump this plant out a little bit. I tried to sort of pull out those longer pieces, but I don't think that's going to totally work. So I'm just going to dump it out and try to see what I can do here to remove some of these branches. Now I also could just cut them and, you know, repropagate them, but I think if I just get in here and pull out the tendrils that I don't want included in this planting, that might work. All right, well, I ended up separating that one plant totally out, which of course made a bigger project than I anticipated today. Of course, that's just what happens. But anyway, here's the long tendrils that I left, and I just popped them in a different pot, gave them some fresh potting soil, and I'm not gonna do any of the topiary with these long ones. I found that, you know, just these short ones just worked a lot better. But here's what I came up with for the you know, one with the multiple hearts with the gold. Now, I will say this trellis isn't the most secure. It really needs to be in a deeper pot. So that's one suggestion I would have for you, especially with this particular one. But I think this looks a lot better with just those short pieces that I had. And I just kind of, you know, kind of threaded them around, but I will say that it needs a deeper planting, but that's what I came up with. All right, so I've got one more I want to do, and it is another one of the Swiss cheese ones, and as you can see, it's got this really long arm here and here. Actually, it's got 3. But it also has that thing where like it's got a long area here with no leaves that's like not the most attractive. So what I'm going to do with this one is I'm actually going to use this container. I use this container in my amaryllis planting, and it does not have a drainage hole, but I still really like the container, and I had planted up an amaryllis bulb in it and it did not do well. So I'm just going to reuse the soil that's in here because it's pretty fresh, and I'm going to repot this one. And I just think the scale will be a lot better. And I've noticed that this plant's drying out really, really fast, which is, you know, an indication that it could use repotting anyway. So I'm going to go ahead and loosen up the soil here if I can. Yeah, it's really in there, so I can tell it's probably pretty root bound. Yeah, so there's the root system. So it could use repotted anyway. It's got, here, the roots coming around there. So I could tell that it kind of did. In fact, I was thinking about using this white pot too, but I'm just going to break up this root memory a little bit before I repot it. And I'm going to go ahead and put it in this pot that doesn't have drainage. I think it'll look really cute. And then I'm going to use, I have a few more of the bigger heart trellises, so I'm going to use those for this project. But I am going to loosen those roots up just a little bit. It's definitely one of those projects that takes a little like fiddling around, you know, takes some time, some patience, but I definitely think you should give it a try. Definitely, I can't speak, sorry. I definitely think you should give it a try. Okay, it's like a weaving project. It's kind of like macrame or like weaving with these arms. Okay, I think I'm just going to go down around the base. Yeah, that'll work well, actually. I'm going to go down around there and then kind of come back up around the other side. And then this will show off some of these parts that does have the leaves. Good, that works well. This plant, you know, it might have a period of time where it's not real happy with me about doing all this manipulation, you know, repotting and doing this manipulating with the stems here, but that's okay. You know, it'll bounce back. I'm just going to keep it nice and watered, keep it in a, you know, moderately sunny spot, and then just keep it fertilized. And I think ultimately it'll be good for it to be more supported and on this trellis. I have this set up as the front because that's where the bow of the pot is. So I'm just looking to see how that's looking. I still don't have a lot of leaves over in here, but if you can kind of see, this is the tip of one new growth, so I can bring that down around. But I still think it looks pretty good. I wish there was a few more leaves over here, so I might manipulate this a little bit more and just see if I can try to make that happen. My last step is going to do is I'm going to take some of this preserved moss. I have a little bit left over from a previous project, and I'm just going to go ahead and top dress some of the topiaries that I made today. All right, friends, well, here is what I ended up with for today. So I've got this pot with the Swiss cheese monstera. I've got the taller one with the kind of variegated pathos and the gold hearts. The Hoya. The Hoya might be my favorite, you guys, and maybe it's just because you know, you can really see the structure of the trellis, but I really like the way that that looks. And I'm just excited because it's my new plant. So here's the other Swiss cheese one. I would say this one's it's a little crazy. It's a little busy. You know, there are 3 hearts in there that are kind of hard to see because of all the leaves. And that's another Swiss cheese. The most successful are probably these wire vine or something like ivy. That's more of a vining plant. I did find a cover pot for this one, just a little basket here. But I would say, you know, as far as the look of it, I really like that particular wire vine for this. I think it turned out really pretty. So I did a little moss as top dressing on some of them, not all of them. And you can see I still have a few of the trellises left if I want to play around with more of these. But this was a really fun project to do today. It's like I said, it was a really cold morning. We've got a fire going in the fireplace, and it was just a fun kind of planty project. So like I said, I'm going to leave in the description of the video the trellises that I used, and I would encourage you for, you know, just something different for your houseplants to give this a try, or as kind of a new project, go buy yourself a new plant that might work well for this. It was really fun to do this today. Well, I hope you guys liked checking out this project today and that it gave you some ideas of what you could do with your houseplants for the Valentine's Day season, or just to change them up and give them a different look. So stick around to my channel for more fun planty ideas for projects. I've got lots of different playlists, including one about houseplants that I will link below for you. And Midnight has decided to come up here and check out our project today. Midnight, what do you think about all this, huh? Anyway, guys, again, thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe. And if you need me, I'll be doing some gardening or maybe some houseplanty projects this winter. I'll see you next time. Bye. Oh my gosh, look at you. You're just gonna come, just get up in here. Just come check out all the plants. So curious. So curious.